Welcome into the show, everybody. Nice to see you. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show. Welcome in. So much to get into when it comes to Trea Turner walking it off for the Phillies. Jason Kelce running Colts off the field at the NovaCare Complex. Camp fight, a walk-off victory for the Phils in a camp fight. Oh, my goodness gracious, what could be better? Oh, I know, just one thing. Nothing. Nothing can be better than that. You know what else? It adds to the fun. James Harden is going to be $100,000 poorer, I guess. The NBA decided to fine him for his comments made about Daryl Morey and calling him a liar and saying that he'll never, ever play for the 76ers or a team that Daryl Morey is a part of again. So the NBA shedding some light on that little James Harden saga. But I got to start with the Phillies and how great a win that was yesterday. How fantastic. Actually, excuse me. What I should start with is an apology because about 15 minutes late for a show is late for a show. I had a little technical issue I had to take care of. So my apologies, first and foremost, to the live audience, to the people listening later on the podcast. We're right on time because we're basically on demand to you fine people. But yeah, welcome in. Trea Turner has been fantastic. It is now August 23rd. He's played 20 games plus in the month of August, and he has been absolutely fantastic since the standing ovations in South Philadelphia when they came home for that homestand, one homestand to go. He has been clutch. He has been money. He has been a very good shortstop in the field as well. He has done just about everything that you thought he would do when he signed with the Philadelphia Phillies this offseason for $300 million. This is the guy that the Phillies were looking for. This is the guy the Phillies were in search of in the offseason. This was the guy that if you remember, this is the guy that Bryce Harper talked about after the World Series when he was being interviewed at his locker in Houston. We're going to go out, Dave Dombrowski, go out and get us some guys that can help us win. Myself, everyone else, pretty much jumped to Trea Turner. When Bryce Harper did an interview in the booth last year before he came back from injury with the thumb, he had talked about, he was asked about by Tom McCarthy, do you have a favorite player that you love to watch? Trea Turner. And I think everyone made the mental note, Trea Turner going to be a Philly next year. And then after the World Series loss to the Astros, he talked about adding players to help this team win. And Dave Dombrowski's going to do his job and bring in some players. And again, I think everyone was with me, and I was with everyone that said, the Phillies are going to go get Trea Turner. This was the Trea Turner they were going to go get. And he walked it off last night for a Phillies 4-3 victory over the San Francisco Giants. And just before we go any further, this is the ultimate. This is what matters. 3.5 games up on the rest of the pack in the wild card race. The Cubs are even with the Diamondbacks. Those two occupy the second and third wild card spots in the National League. Phillies 3.5 games up. We hope they keep adding to that lead. So it's Cubs, Diamondbacks even for the second and third. And then it's the Giants out of wild card contention. Half game out of the race right there. The Cincinnati Reds a half game out of the race now, as well as the Miami Marlins now a game out of the race. And the San Diego Padres at the bottom of the list there. It's 6 games off the pace in the National League. Looking at Trea Turner and just how much more comfortable he is, he just looked like he was calm, cool, and collected. In that 9th inning, he went up. He had 2 runners on. He had a runner on first, and he had the bases loaded. Bryson Stott let it off by getting hit. Hopefully, he's fine. He gets hit by the pitch to lead off that inning. Jake Cave comes up, flies out to shortstop. Then Brandon Marsh comes up. He gets a single. You get Stott to third. So now you have first and third with 1 out. Marsh then steals second, opening up first base for Kyle Schwarber. Gabe Kapler, why do we walk him here intentionally? They decide to walk him. So now you got the bases loaded for Trea Turner to come up, and he delivers. He hit a line shot directly back at the pitcher, Duvall. And somebody in the post-game comments, I had only seen the play once, and then I had to run into the studio and do the show. And they say, that probably would have been a double play. It didn't jump out to me immediately because I thought he hit it hard enough to where it would have gotten through, or he hit it at a trajectory that would have gotten through to center field. Oh, that would have been a double play ball. That would have been an inning-ending double play, a game-ending double play, and the Phillies would have lost the ballgame. It deflects off of Duvall's glove, if you haven't seen it, and it goes past the second baseman, Estrada, and it goes into center field for a 2-run single for the Phillies to walk it off against the Giants. It's the 9th time this season the Phillies have been trailing going into the 9th inning and pulled out a victory. That's that's the 9th time they've done it this season. That is tied for the most in Major League Baseball. That is pretty incredible. After the game, Trea Turner just kind of, you know what? This is just kind of how things go. Sound courtesy NBC Sports Philadelphia.
Yeah, it was good. The win's good. Doesn't matter who it is. It's just getting the job done. And Bryce had that good homer early on, and then couldn't capitalize. The rest of the game, I thought Ty threw really well, kept us in there, and then bullpen threw great. And last thing, a lot of guys got on base and kind of set it up. So just a good team win.
The ball leaves the bat, or what are you thinking there when you see?
Kind of did my job and hope it doesn't get caught or doesn't go anywhere. That I don't want it to, I guess. So get a good pitch to hit and put the barrel on it, and that's kind of all you can control. And I'm glad that it didn't end up, right at Estrada or in the pitcher's glove, so Duvall's glove. So it's a good one.
If you're a hitter and you line it right back to the pitcher, you got to go for a couple of reasons. One, that you don't hurt the pitcher. Two, that he doesn't catch it. And then three, once that bat leaves the ball and you see where it's going, I was expecting him to say double play ball. When he was asked that question after the game, I was going to go, I thought that was going to be a double play, but maybe didn't even have time to think double play. By the time he gets the P in play, it's deflecting off the pitcher. And the Phillies were able to score 2 runs and win that game. Now, leading up to that moment, baby, what a game. Leading up to that moment, Phillies were able to, first off, Taijuan Walker gave up a first inning, another first inning deficit, or top half of the first inning for a Phillies pitcher. It happened in the last 3 starts here. Looking at Zach Wheeler, and unfortunately, could never recover, and that was the worst, obviously. 4 runs scoring, 5 consecutive hits to start off the game. Taijuan Walker came out, allowed a run in the first inning. Phillies came right back with Bryce Harper's 11th home run of the season, that 2-run home run he had at the bottom of the first inning, so they grabbed the lead in the bottom of the first inning. Second inning, they have 2 on, 1 out. Bases loaded situation. Trea Turner, unfortunately, lines out to center field. Then in the third inning, Harper gets picked off with 2 outs. JT Realmuto staying at the plate. Fourth inning, Stott is on with a 1-out single. Sosa gets a 1-out single. And then Rojas and Schwarber, unfortunately, go down swinging in the fourth inning. So they had opportunities early in the ballgame. Then in the fifth, Taijuan Walker starts off the inning by striking out Walker. Walker strikes out Schmidt and Wade to start the inning. So you got 2 outs right out of the gate. And then a little 2-out lightning, unfortunately, that was the pinnacle for the Giants in the game, as far as I'm concerned, with the line drive hit to center field off the bat of Peterson, and it just glances off the mitt in left center field from Yohan Rojas. 2-run score. Now you're down 3-2 in the game. Then Taijuan Walker ends up striking out the side, essentially, by getting conforded a strikeout as well. It was a 3-2 game in favor of the Giants after that 5th inning. Going to the 6th inning, JT Realmuto gets the infield single to lead things off. He eventually takes second on a throwing error. And then, unfortunately, Stott and Sosa both make out. Stott flies out to left field, lines out to left field, and then Sosa strikes out. Then in the 7th inning, you get the leadoff hitter on with Brandon Marsh. In the 8th inning, get the leadoff runner on with Bryce Harper drawing a walk. Both those times, the Phillies couldn't do anything with it in a 1-run ball game. Going to the 9th inning, and that's where the magic started for the Phillies. Quite frankly, you love to see it. Here are the Trea Turner's August numbers. Essentially, since the ovations. 300 batting average, 341 on base percentage. He ties his season high with 14 runs batted in this season for a month. And he's got 4 home runs, which is the most home runs he's hit in a month this season for the Phils. I would say that's pretty damn special. Over the last 2 weeks, his batting average is up to 357 with a 400 on base percentage. He's got 3 of those 4 home runs in the month, and he has absolutely been looking like a very special baseball player yet again. You love to see guys settle in. You love to see guys have that kind of fun. And, man, they mobbed him after the game. And the daycare club, the daycare kids after the game, giving them snacks and a full Gatorade bath after the game as well. This team is clicking. And I always say it. I always say it. But leading up, you want a good team to find a way to win. And they found a way to win this ballgame. They kept the pressure on, in all honesty. Again, you get to the 7th, you get to the 8th, you get to the 9th inning. At some point, you put leadoff runners on, you're going to score runs. At some point, you're going to score runs. The Phillies finally, after the Bryce Harper home run in the 2nd inning, they finally cracked back into the scoring factor of this game by being able to plate those 2 runs in the 9th inning to get the victory. Phillies now, show you one more time, get their full season schedule. The Phillies have 69 wins on the season, nice, and 57 losses for that top spot in the wild card. I'm feeling pretty good about those Phillies. If Aaron Nola has turned it around, if Taijuan Walker has regained his velocity, which is what it looked like yesterday, I've mentioned it many times. I mentioned it going into yesterday's game. Taijuan Walker going through that dead arm period. He acknowledged as much 2 weeks ago. Maybe now that his velocity looks like it is back to normal, he is finally pushed his way through that dead arm period. So in the most optimistic Disney-colored, rose-colored glasses that you could look at this situation, if you get Aaron Nola looking like he has looked when he has been at his best in his career, and you get Taijuan Walker's velocity back and he returns to the crispness and the sharpness that he was in the middle portions of the season, Zach Wheeler doesn't have to face the Nationals that much anymore. Then maybe, just maybe. And Michael Lorenzen is closer to the no-hitter Michael Lorenzen than he was the guy that got shelled by the Nationals. All that comes together, and then things are going to be looking a lot better for the Phillies, and better than a 3.5 game lead in the wild card standings. So I'll go ahead and take that and enjoy it. I'll bask in it for just a little bit. As for today, we'll get to the rest of that news coming up in the morning rush. As for the Phillies, they got a 4:05 start time with Michael Lorenzen on the hill for them today. So we'll get into that conversation a little bit later in the show. So I'm in the midst of following training camp and getting some stuff ready for the show yesterday. And I see that the things are getting chippy. Things are getting chippy at Eagles practice. And I'll be referencing a great account of the whole situation from our friend Jimmy Kempski at Philly Voice. There are a number of incidences in Eagles training camp yesterday that led to the boiling point and then things boiling over. Now, let me just put a little, let me try to remove a little egg from my face. Because yesterday I was the guy talking about, oh, it's Shane Steichen. It's going to be nice. Everyone's going to be fine. Everyone's going to be nice and lovely and respectful in practice. Everyone's going to be great. So that wasn't the case. Things were chippy from jump, according to just about everybody. Jimmy Kempski pointed out in his article at Philly Voice, which you should all check out, Eagles and Colts chippy from the start at practice. Reading this right from the text here. It started out early on when Mekhi Gardner picked off a pass from Jalen Hurts, I believe it was, and flipped the ball right to his receiver that he was covering. Little taunting, subtle, not so subtle, but the little taunting type deal. So it's like, okay, that's the game we're going to play. All right. So all I take from this is that the Colts started it. And then after that, Derek Barnett tried to knock the ball out of Anthony Richardson's hands. Now, here's the deal. If you remember last week, Joel Bitonio had the same issue with the Eagles knocking the ball out of Deshaun Watson's hands. So we all know you're not supposed to do that. Joel Bitonio took issue with it in the media. He didn't take issue with it on the field, where men take issue with it. Anyway, so apparently the Colts did not like that, and they took issue with it. And Derek Barnett, and then they still maybe a little push and shoving, a little jawing, right? Derek Barnett's the last guy you want to read about this stuff, or you want to see about this stuff, do this stuff, because he's the guy that's always the hothead for the Eagles anyway. Don't need personal fouls there, Derek Barnett. We need you to make plays. I hope you get all this out of your system in training camp, and I hope you get all this out of your system in games, preseason games, that is. Not that I expect to see Derek Barnett in the preseason finale tomorrow night. But anyway, here we are. So there's a little scuffle there between those two. And then a little bit later on, Jalen Carter rushed in looking for some smoke with a half dozen other Colts. That was after the Barnett play, unfortunately. And then again from Jimmy Kempski. Then, just a little bit later, things really started to boil over for the Eagles. There was a play made. Zaire, linebacker for the Colts, gets involved in a little play, hits Kenny Gainwell in a way that Jason Kelce doesn't really appreciate. And sure enough, what happens next? Jason Kelce bull rushes Zaire and knocks him to the ground. Then all hell breaks loose. Now, the thing here, they eventually called practice dead. I think it was Brandon Lee Gowden that reported that Jalen Hurts seemed really pissed off that practice was ending early because he wants to get his practice reps in, because we all know he's not playing in the game on Thursday night. But that's the way it ended up shaking out. But Jason Kelce, when he rushed up on Zaire, hit him from behind. Zaire said afterwards, I would expect an OG like Jason Kelce to get me from the front. Fair. And after practice, Jason Kelce was very remorseful. He started out his press conference by going up to the podium, going up to the desk and saying, all right, who wants to start? And that's the way things started. Here's what Jason Kelce had to say about what went down yesterday at practice with the melee.
I think tensions just got the better of me. Certainly, we try and keep things civil on the field. And I think for me, I pride myself on being a guy that sustains the emotion and the level of play out there, and I let my emotions get the better of me. That certainly doesn't belong out there on the field. And, a little bit ashamed that it got to that level, and that I did what I did. So certainly, not happy about that. And I think very highly of the guys that were out there, in particular 44 Zaire. I think he's a tremendous player. I think all of their guys up front, and they brought a lot of intensity to the day, which made the practice intense. And I think I didn't handle things properly there at the end.
Did you get a chance to meet up with Zaire inside?
I did not. No, I think probably tensions are a little bit too high for that right now.
I would, first off, look, it was wrong. You don't hit a guy from behind, obviously. As he said, Jason Kelce said just there, that tensions were high. Things were chippy from the start. This was a situation that had been boiling. He regrets doing. Here's what I'll say. I think Jason Kelce doesn't regret doing it. I think Jason Kelce regrets the way he did it. If he hits him from the front and Zaire Franklin sees it coming, then I think it's a totally different story. But Jason Kelce said what a lot of people said at the time, especially Colts reporters, saying that it was a cheap shot. Here's Jason Kelce one more time on the incident.
I think probably tensions are a little bit too high for that right now.
What was it about that sequence?
I'm not going to get into the specifics of it. Just want to reiterate that that's not something that I should have done or should happen out there. It was a cheap shot, and
that's where it ended. He called it a cheap shot. It sounded like it. Bottom line is, I still love this. I absolutely love it. If this was the roles were reversed, we were Colts show, okay. If this was reversed, if this was different, then it'd be Jason Kelce's cheap shot artist. This guy's supposed to be more classy than that, and all that stuff. As Zaire Franklin pointed out, he's supposed to be an OG. Well, you know what? Maybe not hit a guy late, which was the tipping point, which was the breaking point, which was the straw that broke the camel's back. Zaire Franklin hit Kenny Gainwell a little late, gave him a little extra thud, as Jimmy Kempsky describes it in his article, and late. I think everyone was going to draw the line with hitting anyone late, especially at the end of practice. Like, at that point, you're just trying to get the last shot in. And Jason Kelce took exception to that. And look, I love what everyone had to say about it afterwards, about everyone having their back, and what you're going to hear from Kenny Gainwell, who was directly involved in what started that particular incident, the boiling over point of practice. The bottom line is these guys are sticking up for one another. Bottom line is, as Jason Kelsey said, they love one another. There's a brotherhood out there. You want to make sure you're getting the proper respect. Everyone's getting the proper respect out there on the football field during practice. And this just shows me this team is just done with training camp. They're done with the preseason, and they want to get things underway. Now, what probably didn't lead directly to the incidents of yesterday and the hot-blooded nature of the practice, what probably didn't help the situation is, I think the Eagles are getting a little antsy, in all honesty. I think the Eagles are in a situation where they're hearing from everyone about this Super Bowl hangover BS, and they just don't want to hear it anymore. They just want to get things underway. It's like a huge event that's about to take place. The most important thing for the Eagles. The season's about to start. And every single game, people are going to be expecting this great NFC team, the Super Bowl bound team, the MVP of the league, or the MVP at least in the NFC, in Jalen Hurts, the third best player in the league, according to the Players Top 100. Oh, this great football team is supposed to be, facing any opponent this year, and they're supposed to roll to the Super Bowl and all that stuff. I think the Eagles are tired of that stuff. They just want to get things underway. And the last thing they wanted was some team like the Colts coming in here with a former coordinator of theirs in Shane Steichen and trying to get cheap shots in on them. Now that's the last thing they needed. Last thing they needed. So I do think there's a little bit of anxiousness in the Eagles locker room right now to just get this over with and get on to the regular season. I did find it funny while Jalen Hurts was addressing the media yesterday. He did get into the conversation about how training camp's not over. Yesterday was supposed to be the last day of training camp, quote unquote. Like last practice, going into the last preseason game is supposed to be the last day of training camp. And he got into an argument with Zach Berman about it, a friendly argument. It wasn't like, it wasn't like practice. It wasn't chippy. But he's like, wait, hold on, training camp's not over. And Zach Berman was like, well, kind of in the past, technically it's over before, the last practice, the last preseason game. Jalen Hurts, not for me. Jalen Hurts likes his practice. So, Jalen Hurts didn't like A, that the practice was ending early because of the fight, and B, didn't like anybody suggesting that training camp had already been over. It's like, no, don't put us in that regular season swing just yet. He also got asked about the week between training, or the week between practice, the week between the final preseason game and then leading into the regular season, in that time for players to not, kind of do anything stupid, make sure they're focused on the season, make sure they're doing everything right before the season starts. The guy's focus is just off the charts. He wouldn't talk about the fight. And he wouldn't talk about what Nick Sirianni said to the team after the fight. He said, we're going to keep that in-house. That's an in-house conversation. Not for Kenny Gainwell, who was addressing reporters right after everything went down, still on the field. And here's the good news to take out of it. When it came to practice in its own right, we talk about the teams winning joint practice. Oh, we could win practice. Well, apparently the Eagles not only won practice against the Colts outside of fighting, but apparently they whooped that ass. Here's Kenny Gainwell on the Eagles' practice performance against Indianapolis.
Keep each other safe, and man, we're a team. We ain't gonna let nobody come in our house and take over, but we're gonna continue to work hard each and every day. We whoop their ass, so
It seemed like on the second to last play, you took a pretty good hit. Did you know something was kind of brewing at that point?
No, not at all. But I was just, I'm running the ball. I'm trying to get upfield as fast as I can and protect myself.
So when Nick's telling you you're not going to let anybody take over, and is that in a sense him happy that Kelsey ended up defending you and it ended in that way? Is that basically what you think he meant by that?
Not at all, but as a team, we're gonna continue to protect each other and take care of each other each and every day.
KG, there was a week or two.
All I need to hear. Look, the fight's fun. It shows that I think that even at practice you can get a little chippy, especially at practice you can get a little chippy. I don't know if these types of things are going to lead its way into less joint practices because coaches don't want players fighting. I remember years ago, Andy Reid talking about how it just shows that players are intense and you want intensity. And these are grown men out there on the football field that are being intense. And that was the buzzword of Jason Kelsey when he was addressing the media. Intense. This is intense. Everyone's intense. We're all intense. I understand they always call it a more controlled environment. I would say by everything I read and saw from yesterday's practice, it wasn't really a controlled environment. Because here's the deal. It doesn't count. Where else? When else are you going to get opportunities to shoot off and really not have it penalize the team? In instances like yesterday at practice, if you're a coach, you got to be thinking about that. You might like the intensity, that's great, but you don't want players getting fight. God forbid somebody gets hurt in a practice. I mean, football's rough enough. You don't need to take it any more rough than it already is. But you try to do that in a game. Oh, we're talking about fines. We're talking about suspensions. We're talking about 15-yard penalties. We're talking about guys getting thrown out of games. I mean, that's kind of how it goes. But at practice, a guy blows a whistle, people yell, and then you go to your locker room. And then you go get some Rita's Water Ice delivered by a rookie. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a big deal. So where else are you going to get these opportunities to take a cheap shot? Where else are you going to get these opportunities to run a player? Like what happened yesterday. Where else are you going to get the opportunities to needle another team the way Derek Barnett was trying to needle another team yesterday by knocking the ball out of Anthony Richardson's hands? Yeah. You're not going to get that opportunity anywhere else. And the Eagles had a full opportunity to do it yesterday. The Colts had an opportunity to do it. And, hey, look, Zaire Franklin hits Kenny Gainwell late any other time. Then you get a flag on that. Took the opportunity, took liberties. Both teams seemed like they were taking liberties yesterday by having themselves some fun with the other team until it wasn't fun anymore. So the next thing you know, both sidelines clear. Everyone's fighting. Things are just bonkers at the NovaCare complex. I think I'm with the Eagles. Can we just get the season started? Can we get the season started as soon as humanly possible? I am so ready. Because I got to be honest, too. Similar to what I was laying out there with my little theory about the Eagles just ready to get the season started because all the talk about all the rat poison, as it was called last year, that's out there. I mean, think about last year. Last year, people were just talking about this team. What could this team be? Could they be great? They're good. The roster looks pretty great. Jalen Hurts, talking about rat poison. Jason Kelsey talked about how this team had this attitude of not wanting to be comfortable. And Jason Kelsey talked about how the minute you're comfortable in this business, the minute you're comfortable in the NFL is the minute you're done. You can't get comfortable. Nobody can be comfortable. Well, the Eagles didn't look comfortable throughout all last season. I mean, at the end of the season, they looked pretty comfortable in terms of the end of the regular season. Getting a first-round bye, getting a home field advantage, obviously making it into the Super Bowl. They fulfilled all the prophecies, all the hype that the regular season was supposed to bring. The preseason brought, I should say. And now they have that at their fingertips again. Now they're on that doorstep again of great expectations leading up to the season. But this time, there's actual tangible evidence that they are supposed to be that good, being that they were that good last year. I'm with the players, man. I'm with the coaches. You just want to get this underway. You just want to get this going. You want to be able to go out there and just say, all right, you know what? Enough of the talk. This is us performing action. The BS is done. I went on a rant last week about how if I could, obviously you're not going to play more than one football. You're not going to play like three. You're not going to take on a schedule like the NBA or hockey where you have 82 games, right? You're not doing that in the NFL. I don't know. Give Roger Goodell enough time. Maybe he'll advance the schedule to at least like 50 games. But you're not going to do that in the NFL, okay? It's too rough a sport to do that. You are going to have 2 games in 4 days, 5 days, which Thursday night football, Sunday night football, Thursday night football, Sunday football, Thursday football. You are going to do that. But one of the things I don't like is that football just has so much BS attached to it. There's so much talk, not enough action. But it seems to be a happy mix, being that it's the most popular sport in our country. But I think the players are in a similar situation. I think the coaches are in a similar situation where the talk is extremely cheap and they just want to get to the action part of the season. They want to get things underway. And I think I think you, I think the team as a whole, I think all the NFL is ready to just get things underway. And hey, look, we have a team like the Phillies here in Philadelphia that are playing some great baseball right now. They're bound for the playoffs. They're bound for more than just meaningful games in September. They're bound to the meaningful games in October. So that's all great. Let's get it underway. Let's start the fire. And the next thing you know, the Sixers will be starting out, Flyers obviously as well. I'm ready for it all. Speaking of the 76ers. So the NBA let it be known that after their investigation, they have decided to fine James Harden $100,000 for violating the league policy of not publicly demanding a trade. As you would expect, James Harden and the Players Association is going to appeal that fine of $100,000, saying that he did not violate those rules. We all saw him violate the rules. He didn't say, trade me now, but he said he wasn't going to play for the team. So what the hell else is going to come out of this? So as of right now, it's a $100,000 fine. We'll see if it gets knocked down because of the players' union getting involved. But as of right now, there's no other way you could look at it. The evidence is mounted. It's already presented. Everybody saw it. There's no other way. Then in America, when he went back to Houston after his China visit, he went to Houston, and then he told that one reporter from the CBS Houston people, "Oh yeah, no, this is damage beyond repair." Like, what else is there? Is it like there's one line from the script that they wrote in the CBA saying you can't say this, and he didn't say that, so we're good? That's the only way that they could possibly win an appeal. But I think everyone knows what he's doing. There's a track record here. You talk about it all the time with players that are on the court and things that they do, repeat offenders. This is a repeat offender. Old Jimmy Drama is drawing it up this way. He didn't have to do it this way. If he doesn't publicly complain, you know what he does? He actually makes this process go a lot faster. Well, I don't know if James, a lot faster, but he makes it go faster. Jimmy Drama, every offseason, every season, has got something going on. Even during this past season, the season where he led the team in assists, or led the league in assists. He goes out there and I don't know where reports came from about me wanting out, about my strained relationship with Doc Rivers and my relationship with Joel Embiid, a work in progress. I don't know where that came from. Well, I can assume, I could guess where that came from. Probably your camp. If he wanted to get traded, he does not help himself by making more drama, because Daryl Morey is going to be stubborn on this. I said from the start, he shouldn't. He should trade him as soon as humanly possible. The value is only diminishing, and now here we are. I don't really care that much that James Harden is going to be $100,000 poorer than he was previous to the offseason. What I care about is the Sixers playing their best possible brand of basketball for this fan base in this city. That's what I care about. James Harden being here doesn't help that situation, unfortunately. James Harden getting traded and bringing something of value back. The only thing I was looking for was a first-round pick. And going down the line to the 2027 draft, 2028 draft, that's something that'll help this team win down the line, especially because the Clippers organization is going to be a dumpster fire by then, especially if James Harden does go there. That's all I was looking for. Match the salary, match the money, and get something to help you win in the future. Until then, invest in Maxey, invest in Joel Embiid, and see what they can give you under Nick Nurse. See if Maxey can be an all-star. That's it. I think that was the best case scenario for the 76ers. And James Harden acted the way he's been acting does not help the Sixers get to that point. Now everyone around the league knows that this is just the absolute poop show once again with Jimmy Drama. This part of it is not fun. Let's get to the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing. Jim is off again today, so I'm running the show, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, so I can put your fine comments up on the screen, like Sean Kilrains. What's up, Sean? Nice to see you. Fighting, ring the bell. Yeah, damn right. Sean Kilrains again saying hi. Oh, there you corrected yourself. Hey, what's up? Hey, good morning, everyone. By the way, these are from the Farzi Show channel. Hey, your lateness to the show is inexcusable, Farzi. Just kidding. No, it is inexcusable. Don't excuse it. I don't believe in lateness. I was raised better than this. All right? But thank you, nice to see you. Sean Kilrain. Will real Trey Turner stand up? That's exactly the guy who was brought in. I want to hear all the haters. How you feel now? How you like me now? Look, I really got to give credit to the fan base here, man. The Phillies couldn't find Trey Turner, and they couldn't help Trey Turner find his way out of his rut. Like, think about that. The organization themselves. Trea Turner himself. Trea Turner couldn't get out of his own head. Every theory you heard coming from Kevin Long or the organization about Trea Turner finding his way out of his slump, more than a slump, his horrendous season, everything was about, he's got to keep his head still. He's moving his head too much. Stop doing it. He can't. Trea Turner couldn't get out of his own way in terms of getting focused and swinging at good pitches and laying off bad pitches. And last night he fouled a couple of pitches away. He laid off a couple of pitches out of the zone, and he really hung in there in that at bat. I mean, it was only a 6-pitch bat. It wasn't like a Bryson Stott 13-pitch bat special, but he really hung in there in the at bat for pitches that he has usually flailed at and failed at, unfortunately. But yesterday stood in there, got a pitch over the middle of the plate and drove it up the middle for a 2-run single. Bottom line, 2-run single. Most likely a double play if Duvall doesn't touch that, but natural reaction, can't help it. Little instincts there, little what do you call it? The reflex. Okay. But the Phillies organization couldn't help him out of it. What helped him out of it was Philadelphia saying, "Hey man, we're good. Hey man, we're good. We're good. Yep, everything to this point has sucked. The Phillies have tried everything. The Rob Thompson has moved up and down the order. Rob Thompson is giving you days off. Everything else they've tried. You know what? We got this. You know what? We got you. Just come here. We got you. Philly bro hug, pat on the back. Get back out there. Let me see what you got, sport." That's what all Philadelphia did with those standing ovations. They patted him on the head. They said, "You got this, buddy. Go out there and do it." And ever since then, exhale. 300 hitter. That's pretty special. That's pretty special. Most home runs in a month. He's got the 23rd of August. He's got 8 more days to get his new RBI total for a month up there. His best batting average for a month. Potentially could get his best on base percentage for a month. He's 13 points below his best, which was in June, as I've mentioned many times before. It's an incredible thing. Cured by the fan base. A very tough fan base. It's Trea Day, more commonly known as Trea. That's Trea Thomas Day. Turner, not Thomas. There you go. T-Bro, I'll be texting this to Trea later today. That's fantastic. Yeah. Sean Kilrain, hello again. Hope everything is all good with Stott's elbow. Do we plunk someone in the final game today, Farzi? No. I'll tell you what. You get out to another 10-2 lead and promise me Britton Covey is not going to pitch in the game, then maybe hit somebody. My father, he says, my father is a Trea Turner hater. I asked him about how the game-winning hit by Trea Turner felt. He said, well, it's about time. Trea Turner is starting to hit the ball well. Starting? It's been 23 days. Starting. April, what's going on? Sean Kilrain, Walker getting hit in the forearm. He took it like a champ. He did take it like a champ. Absolutely. Sean Gillespie, good morning. What's going on? Oh, Professor Dutch, not hiking today. What's going on? At least not yet. Taiwan Walker, actually, you're not hiking now at this hour in the morning, are you? And then commenting on the show. Pay attention to the trail. Watch out for that rock. Is that a bear? Anyway, Taiwan Walker showed some grit last night. Could only throw off-speed pitches after he was hit. I assume that's what you're saying there. After getting the hit, struck in the San Francisco scrub. Sean Kilrain. They said it started when Barnett hit Anthony knocking out. Yeah. Not in our house. I guess. Break out the brooms, cook up some rice-a-roni, the San Francisco treat. Fire Derek Barnett. It's always him. It is off-putting how often it's always him. Anyone going to the Kelly Green block party? T-Bro, I might be going to that next Thursday, I believe it is, in Fairmount, my old neck of the woods. God, I miss the city. I really do, man. Oh, dear God, I miss the city. but that's in my old neck of the woods. I really want to make it to that. We got some Labor Day festivities going on, the family. So if we don't head out of town on Thursday, oh yeah, future. Friday morning I'll probably do the show, and then Saturday, Sunday, obviously. Monday, no show. I'll be back Tuesday for the Labor Day. That's the plan for the Labor Day. We're going down to Virginia. My wife's got family down there, and I'm going to be going fishing. So brace yourself for Instagram fishing pics. But yeah, I plan on going to that party. As of right now, T-Bro, I plan on going to that. Mike Fuji, what's going on? Kelsey, the bodyguard 2.0, taking care of business. Good morning, Mark, everybody. Happy hump day. Happy hump day, Fuji. What's going on? Jeff Saturday would have done the same thing. Yeah, again, the only problem is if we're Colts fans and Jason Kelsey runs up on Zaire Franklin from behind and hits him, that is Bush League. Jason Kelsey acknowledged it, said it was a cheap shot, in his own right. So good for him to admit that. I appreciate that. Sean Conway, nobody likes us. We don't care. Bring the season on. I'm with you. Fuji, last hurrah for some of these guys. Bubble stakes are high. Make the final cut. I'm going to let you guys know where I'm at when it comes to the final roster in the morning rush segment. San Francisco Giants team. How are they that good? I see they seem a little fraudulent. They didn't look fraudulent when the Phillies swept them in May, I believe it was. But yeah, this time around, the Phillies are getting the better of them, obviously. April, I'm over Harden. He could sit at home and make Instagram videos with Ben Simmons. Oh, man. Have you guys seen April? Yeah. Have you guys seen the Ben Simmons comment from I forget the Nets writer that put it out there, but Ben Simmons looks poised, looks ready to go. Ben Simmons looks cut, looks like he's shooting from the outside. Ben Simmons looks fantastic. Ben Simmons is ready to go. I laughed out loud at that, and I think most of you did too when you saw it. Ben Simmons looking great. Oh, he's an off-season man. He is an off-season Hall of Famer. He's a social media Hall of Famer. The problem is you don't get any parades for that. You get parades for what happens during the season. And Ben Simmons, hey, look, the Sixers have come up small too. But I don't really think we're going to ever see any different version of Ben Simmons. Somebody else buying into the hype that you already know is BS is funny to me. CMB looking thin these days, has one of Hurt's shirts rents due. Let's hope that's the case. April, Virginia traffic awful on the way home. Yeah, they're out there in the boonies. Not that like Virginia has a rather built up area. The good old pill organizer will tackle by. You remember that, T-Bro? Derek Gunn doesn't let me live that down. Ben Simmons, offseason Hall of Fame. Thank you, appreciate it. I don't want to leave out because I can't post Jacob Media comments on this, John. I got to wait. So I'll go see if you guys have anything you want to get into today over on Jacob Media. Adam Harden, James Harden would make the Clippers better and the Bulls better. I don't disagree with that. Now it's just a matter of, hey, how about you give us something worth bragging about? How about you give us something to help us win a championship? No, because we have to trade him now. Yeah, cool, thanks. Yeah, weren't going to get anything to begin with. For the record, not going to get anything worth bragging about anyway. All right, let's get to the morning rush. Brought to you by Sky Motor Cars, SkyMotorCars.com. First and foremost, let's get into the Phillies tonight. They start at 4:05 this afternoon in South Philadelphia. Trea Turner and company will look to get things going and complete the sweep against San Francisco Giants. That is the final game of the 3-game series. The Phillies have off tomorrow, so hopefully they go into that off day with a 3-game sweep. Michael Lorenzen gets the start for the Phillies. Of course, he is coming off a very rough outing, his roughest as a member of the Philadelphia Phillies, where he allowed 6 earned runs, 7 runs in total, 8 hits, 1 home run, 1 walk in 3 1/3 against the Washington Nationals in an 8-7 loss last Friday. So now this bounce back performance for Michael Lorenzen would be extremely helpful. Of course, in his 2 previous starts, he became the only Phillies pitcher this season to have 2 8-inning starts under his belt on the season. He leads the Phillies in 8-inning starts. So forget about quality starts. Not really his thing. So hopefully he has a bounce-back performance. Looking at his game logs from the Detroit Tigers earlier in the year, looking at his game log, generally speaking, he has bounce-back performances after he gets roughed up pretty bad. So hopefully we'll see that same type of performance tonight from Michael Lorenzen. Michael Lorenzen, by the way, overall 7-8 on the season with a 3.57 ERA. Alex Cobb, 35-year-old veteran right-handed pitcher for the San Francisco Giants, gets the start. He's 6-5 on the season with a 3.57 ERA. You want some hope for the Phillies bats to have another double-digit performance tonight? Alex Cobb, in his last 3 starts, has allowed 15 runs. 15 runs. Yeah, all of them earned, by the way. 5 1/3, 4 1/3, 5 2/3. So he has not given quality starts, to say the least, in those last 3. He has walked batters. He has given up a lot of hits in those starts as well. Almost over like 26 hits he's given up in his last 3 starts as well. So the Phillies will have an opportunity to hit a guy who is not exactly pitching at his best today. Look, we got one more game. One more game of the preseason that we got to stomach. One more day of nothingness from the Eagles before moving on. Couple of notes from Nick Sirianni addressing the media yesterday. He didn't get chippy or snippy with the media yesterday, but you can tell he's a little perturbed. He has set the tone throughout the entire preseason, throughout the entire training camp sessions, about the Eagles not revealing their right guard, their starting right guard. He will not say that Cam Jurgens is their starting right guard. He will not make decisions on the roster until he has to make decisions on the roster. He has continued to say that it's not week 1 yet. He's not taking on the New England Patriots. He's got like 3 weeks before he's really got to be concerned about that. And he said as much yesterday during his final press conference before the last preseason game, saying that, yeah, we're not there yet, guys. I don't have to say anything. I'm like, well, come on, it's Cam Jurgens to start. And he was like, well, you guys are like, you should know by now. I'm not going to tell you. Like, why do I need to say it? He's taken every rep. He's taken every rep with the first team. Is Cam Jurgens my starter? What do you need me to say, guys? That battle wasn't even a battle. I did listen to Tyler Steen yesterday. Seems like he's grasping everything really well. I had the opportunity to talk to Ian Cummings, a draft expert, yesterday when I was on with Jody McDonald on Birds 365. He talked about Tyler Steen really having the ability to play inside. Like, he could play the tackle position if the Eagles needed him to be a tackle, if they need him to basically be that Swiss Army knife that Andre Dillard was for the Eagles last year, being able to play guard, being able to play tackle. Jack Driscoll has been in a similar situation here in Philadelphia where he has been that Swiss Army knife. Isaac Seumalo had instances of being able to do that, being able to move from left guard to right guard. He had opportunities to do that here. He did that here. Tyler Steen seems like next man up. They need a Swiss Army knife type guy to be on that offensive line at the tackle spot or guard spot. He'll be able to handle it. It's not just Stoutland University being great. It's a great student being at a great university. I think it's the way to put it when it comes to Tyler Steen and being able to be that jack of all trades when it comes to being able to play almost any position on the offensive line. So that's a good thing to have, obviously. But that position battle was never really a position battle. It was Cam Jurgens' job. As far as other position battles, Nakobe Dean, as most people thought, even with Miles Jack was signed, even when Zach Cunningham was signed, he's going to be your starting linebacker, your starting middle linebacker. After that, I think it's going to be Zach Cunningham. Those two seem to be the running mates this season for the linebacker position, not edge rusher, not Nolan Smith, not Hassan Reddick. Those guys, not including them. You're going to be looking at 2 linebacker sets of Zach Cunningham on the outside and Nakobe Dean on the inside. Another thing Ian Cunningham talked about was the instincts and the blitzing ability. I asked him this question because I'm always curious when draft experts watch prospects play out in the NFL. Because they're watching at the college level, they're seeing what they're doing at the college level and seeing what they're doing very well at the college level. So well, in fact, that it makes them a national champion. It makes them a 1 or 2 day pick. So you're getting picked in the first, second, or third round of the NFL draft. What made them be 1, 2, or 3 first, second, or third round picks in the NFL? And then watching them go into the NFL and then watching defensive coordinators in the NFL not use them in the way they were being used in college. So one of the things that made Nakobe Dean a special player in college was not only the instincts, not only the anticipation, not only the ability to recognize a play, but the ability to blitz, to be able to get into the backfield. And when you got Jordan Davis in front of you, yeah, that should provide a nice little lane to get into the backfield, to get after a quarterback or maybe stop the run. So I asked him, every good coach uses his players to the best of their ability, not the best of his scheme, so to speak. Good coaches coach to what they have. They don't make what they have fit their scheme. And I know we've talked about that a lot, Jonathan Gannon, but I do think that's the right philosophy to have as a coach or as a coordinator. So I said, if you're standing next to Sean Desai, how would you tell him to use Nakobe Dean? And he said, blitz. Yeah, not every play, not, be an upper echelon team in terms of like blitz percentage. Don't be in the top 5, but just know that you have that there. And if you need to dial up something, if your edge rushers aren't getting home, like in that Super Bowl, for whatever reason, maybe you send a middle linebacker. Maybe you send a middle linebacker that has the speed, quickness, smarts, instincts of a Nakobe Dean. So no, you're not going to see a Jim Johnson level of blitzing. Okay. Not going to see a Buddy Ryan level of blitzing, but you're going to have a guy that could get in the backfield better than TJ Edwards can. And this is no disrespect to TJ Edwards, but speed, quickness wasn't exactly his strong suit. He was a good linebacker. I'm not saying he wasn't a good linebacker, very good linebacker for this team. But I think the Eagles are going to have a better linebacker by season's end. I think they're going to have a bigger playmaking linebacker as well when it comes to season's end. And I think when it comes to opportunities for the Eagles to have a defense that will actually make a play for them, and they made plays all throughout last year, but Darius Slay, James Bradbury, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, they made plays. Avonte Maddox, Reed Blankenship, these guys made plays. Your defensive line made plays. Hassan Reddick made plays. I think what they're getting in Nakobe Dean is a guy that is going to make plays, splash plays. Not just play his position solidly, though he'll make mistakes. He'll misread something. He'll look foolish at some point. It's bound to happen. But he's going to be a guy that can, I think, make plays for you. TJ Edwards, he made his share of plays, but they weren't like big splash plays. They were very good linebacker plays. He made tackles. The play and buck ended there. I didn't expect big splash plays from TJ Edwards, but I do expect it from Nakobe Dean. So that's, I think, your starting linebackers, Zach Cunningham and Nakobe Dean. At the safety position, I'm begging the Philadelphia Eagles. Week 1, starting safety, Sidney Brown. I know that it's going to be a very inexperienced secondary when it comes to your safety positions. Man, my allergies are really getting me today. I know it's going to be a lot of inexperience between Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown. Don't have to be a wizard to know the math there. It's 1 year under their belt of experience. Combined. 1 year. Reed Blankenship's rookie season, and now this. So that's not a lot. But as I've said, sometimes you're just good. Sometimes you're still just the best option. I'd rather start him now, get experience under his belt, and then just release the fury as the season goes on. And this philosophy of he's too aggressive to play in this type of scheme is mind-numbing to me. The idea that Sidney Brown can't be coached up, the idea that, God forbid, you coach up a young player, teach him to be less aggressive. Okay, well, that's kind of your job then, Sean Desai. That's kind of your job, all of Philadelphia Eagles organization, to coach him up, to have him learn from his mistakes. But he's got to be given the opportunity to make mistakes. I don't think he's going to make many. I think it's going to be a very simple thing with Sidney Brown. Break it down for him to where it's the easiest thing. Sidney, on this play, we're expecting a pass. Be the deepest man on the field. Don't be aggressive, but be the deepest man on the field. Okay? Option 2, Sidney. We're expecting something at the line of scrimmage. We're expecting a run. We're expecting somebody to be running out of the backfield. We're expecting somebody to catch a ball in the flat. We're expecting a screen. Sidney, be aggressive. Unleash the fury. Unleash the fury. You can have A mode with Sidney Brown. You can have B mode with Sidney Brown. It's up to you whether or not you tell Sidney Brown to hit turbo. Hit turbo means get out to the line of scrimmage. Back off means be the deepest man on the field. That's what, like, as basic as they should make it with Sidney Brown. That's as basic as they should make it. God forbid you coach up a player to be better. It's kind of your job. So the narrative that it started, and I blame that Tim McManus. And I blame John McMullen, who repeated the news to me and Derek Gum when we were doing the post-game show last week, that this narrative had started, this idea had started, that maybe Sidney Brown's is too aggressive for a defense that doesn't want to give up the big chunk plays. Maybe this defense doesn't need a Sidney Brown right now. Maybe they need to coach him up a little bit more before they put him out there. It shouldn't be that difficult. Seems like a really smart dude. Should be able to figure it out. Played at a pretty good school too. He should know. He should know. The coachability factor is another thing I asked Ian Cummings about yesterday with Sidney Brown, because that's going to matter. It's going to matter big time as to whether or not he could be a starter for this team right out of the gate. Is he coachable? What's the coachability factor? We know the physical ability. We know the mentality. But can he be coached? Very much so was the answer to that question. He can be coached. So I think you have Cam Jurgens, your starting right guard, not even a debate. Nakobe Dean, Zach Cunningham are going to be your starting linebackers to begin the season. I think Christian Ellis makes this squad. Nicholas Morrow is an interesting case. I think he makes it, but I think it's close. I don't think he's a lock by any means. Eagles are obviously going to have a good run of corners there. Hopefully you see a better game from Eli Ricks. Hopefully you see some other guys, Josh Jobe, go out there and handle the business. Josiah Scott, go out there and handle some business. But at the safety position, I think Kayvon Wallace, I think Terrell Edmonds are going to end up being your backups. I think they should end up being your backups. I'm not betting. I don't know where the hell that came from. I'm not betting on the Eagles starting Sidney Brown, though. I want them to start Sidney Brown. I think it's the right thing to do to start Sidney Brown. I just don't think the Eagles are going to do that out of the gate. I think it's going to be one of these things that as the season goes on, he's going to get his feet wet more and more in the secondary. I don't think they actually do it, though. I'd love to see it, but I don't think they actually do it. They wrap things up tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, South Philadelphia against the Indianapolis Colts. And then we really look forward to the season. Boy, then do we look forward to the season. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are fantastic as per usual. Much obliged. Everyone over there at Jacob Media, appreciate you guys. Len's telling me right now on the Jacob Media YouTube channel, coach these guys up, Philly. Jerome Anthony laughed my ass off about which part. Just God forbid you coach him up. I hope you coach him up. Thanks everyone on the Jacob Media. Thanks everyone on the Farzi Show. You guys are great. Jim Hyden produced the program from afar. I had to push the buttons, man. It's a rough day for me. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everyone on the podcast. Thank you so much, everyone on the podcast. Everyone on the YouTube channels, we appreciate it. I'll be back with you guys tonight, actually, after the Phillies hopefully complete the sweep of the San Francisco Giants in South Philadelphia and go up hopefully 4.5 games up on the rest of the pack in the wild card standings. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzi Show. Hit like, hit subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I'll be back with you guys tonight on the Jacob Media Fighting's post-game show. We talk all things Phillies Giants after that. Thanks, everybody. Be back with you guys tonight and then tomorrow morning. On time, by the way. 6 a.m., I promise. See you guys then. Bye. Oh, yeah, I have to hit the end of the show. That's my job. See you, everybody.